Hey, welcome back. Good Friday morning to you. We are on LinkedIn Live today and across other platforms too, YouTube, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm Bill Caskey. I hope you have listened to my podcast, Bill Caskey Podcast. Today we're going to talk about lead generation in a modern world. And I have several clients right now. And my work primarily is with sales organizations, sales professionals, mainly in the B2B space. And there's really two elements to what we do. There's the traffic element and the conversion element. And I learned this back when I first started studying internet marketing, as everybody was talking about traffic and conversion. And really, those are the only two things that matter if you're trying to grow a business. How do you build traffic? How do you generate new acquaintances, new opportunities, lead generation, whatever you want to call it? That's where the traffic part of the equation comes in. And then after you create traffic, you've got to convert that traffic, or at least the part of the traffic and part of the leads that are convertible and that you want to bring on as a client. And so I like to break this up. Now, are there more elements and facets to success in sales and business than those? Of course, there's thousands, hundreds and thousands. But when it comes to selling and generation of revenue, those two things are the most important. How do I build traffic and how do I convert that traffic? So today I want to spend a little time on traffic, and I've got a client training this afternoon, and I've outlined some of the things that we're going to talk about. And typically what I do with clients is I'll spend the first couple of months on mindset and message. If our minds aren't right, then our message is not going to be right. Nothing else is going to be right, because you know what I believe, that everything is downstream from mindset. And then message, if you don't understand your message, don't know how to concoct it, draft it, proclaim it, then it's going to sound like everybody else. So we're through that with my client, and we're getting into lead generation now and business development. And I've got a couple of things that I want to share with you that I'm going to be training them on today. And I want you to think about these things in your own context, because everybody's business is different. I'm working with an engineering firm, but I also work with accounting and law and SaaS and business to business, but it's always business to business. It's not business to consumer. So here's a couple things that I want to talk to you about today. Number one is, I think we have overlooked the power of audience connection. Just think about it. You have an audience, and this audience might be current clients. It might be people that you're working with, prospecting, and they're in the pipeline. But you also have an audience of people who aren't familiar with what you do, or they're tangentially familiar. They're just on the surface. They kind of, yeah, I've heard of Smith Jones Enterprises, but I don't really have a connection to them. And I think you, as a professional, need to be in the audience connection business, and you need to have that orientation. How are you connecting? And I don't just mean cold calling, but I mean really emotionally connecting with your audience. I do these LinkedIn Lives because my belief is, and I've seen it happen, it's happened several times in the past few months, is you're going to watch this and you're going to connect with something I say, or maybe the way I say it, and you're going to reach out to me, and we're going to start a relationship, an acquaintance, if nothing else. And we may work together, we may not work together. But this whole idea of shooting video or creating content that connects with somebody is what we need to be thinking about. I like that better than cold outreach and prospecting and those words that I know we use them, I use them, but I want you to start thinking about, how am I connecting with my audience? What am I doing to connect with an audience that I want to serve and to sell to, and in that order? And if you're not thinking connecting with audience, then I think you're vaulting over one of the most important parts of the lead generation process, and that is engagement. How do I engage with people? Number two, I'm convinced that you will generate more leads if you can amplify your talent and wisdom. What is your talent? What are your core talents? What have you learned about your business and how to solve problems and how to identify problems how to serve customers. I mean, you've got a lot of wisdom. Think about it. I know most people listening to this have been in business for years, not days or months, but years. You've accomplished something. You've developed some talents. I was talking to a guy about a week ago, and he'd been in his business for 35 years. He was 60-ish. And he really didn't want to be on LinkedIn because he envisioned LinkedIn as being a recruiting tool. And that really is not his world. He's a highly paid sales professional who calls on highly paid buying professionals. And so, but his stronghold of belief was that LinkedIn was nothing more than a recruiting platform. And then he said to me, and I couldn't believe it, he said, what am I going to say on LinkedIn? What am I going to say? Forget about LinkedIn. What am I going to say if I create videos and content? And I'm thinking, Jeff, 35 years, you've got nothing to say. But that's not Jeff's fault. That's our culture. We, in many ways, have been so beaten down with this. You've got to be humble. You've got to have humility. You don't want to be a tall poppy. You'll get shot down. Who are you? Bill, who are you to do LinkedIn Lives? Who are you to do this? There's other people that are better than you, and I agree with that. But who am I not to? Why would I take something that I've created and be so ashamed of it or try to hide it so you don't get access to it? And many of you who watch this aren't going to agree with me. It is not. You may pick up a smidge here and there and a snippet, but generally you're not going to agree with everything I say. I don't agree with everything I say. But if you hide your talent and hide your wisdom, you are not letting people into your world who might be able to be helped by what you do. I know it's kind of it sounds like I'm trying to convince you to shoot videos and content. I'm not. All I'm saying is, are you amplifying your talent? That's a question you should be asking yourself at the end of each week. Did I amplify my talent this week? Was I able to get my experience and expertise out into the market so people could choose whether they want to do business with you? Not to portray yourself as some kind of hero or God maker. No, it's just, do you have talent? I'll answer that for you, yes. Do you have experience? Yes. Do you have wisdom? Yes. What are you doing to amplify it? If the answer is nothing and you're still complaining about not enough business, or people don't treat me, people ghost me, people don't follow up, they say they're going to call, but that's all about your talent and your wisdom. You've just not amplified it. You've not positioned yourself properly. So I ask you to ask yourself, what are you doing to amplify your wisdom? Number 3, personal brand is superior to corporate brand. I believe this, although 5 years ago, no one believed that. 2 years ago, more and more people were. Today, I think more and more people are. And you have to get into your brain that your personal brand matters. The trust deficit is high. I've talked about that. People don't trust you. People don't trust your company. People don't trust our leaders. Trust is at an all-time low. And you don't have to believe that. You can say, well, they trust me because by golly, I'm good at what I do. And I've been in this business for a long time and I've helped a lot of people. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Trust is low. What are you going to do to bridge it? What are you going to do to bridge that gap between where they trust you and where you'd like them to trust you? One is be trustworthy. Be worthy of the trust. Don't try to go out and try to get people to love you and get people. We just got to get people to trust us. That's terrible. How are you going to do that? Because the very nature of you trying to get people to trust you is untrustworthy. So what are you doing that's causing them to look at you and say, yeah, they're worthy of trust? And I think a lot of that gets back to what are you producing in the marketplace that would cause someone to say, hey, you know what? I never thought about the problem that way. Hopefully that's what I'm doing here with you, is I'm helping you see the problem you have in sales might have to do with your prior training and has something to do with the fact that buyer behavior and buyer trust has changed. It's moved away from you. So your prior training has nothing in it about trust. It's all about interrogation and finding the pain, finding the problem, convincing them, handling objections, and never letting them up, and being persistent. And by God, I never give up. Really? You're going with that today? Are you? It's not a scalable model. So what are you doing to build your personal brand? And you can argue with me about whether your personal brand's more important than your company brand. They're both important. I got it. But company brand building is usually not very good. I haven't found. Personal brand building, you can really make a difference. But are you making that difference? At the end of the week, what did you do this week to build your personal brand? When I look back at my week, I can always say, I was okay at it, but I didn't do all I could. And I don't want to become obsessed with it and beat myself over the head with a stick, but I've got to be aware of it, and you do too. Okay, number 5. Well, this is number 4, I guess. Meet them where they are. By them, I mean your potential customer. Meet them where they are, not where you are or not where you want them to be. Meet them where they are. Where are they? Are they demanding that you cold call them? Are they just hoping that you'll reach out and talk about how great they are? No. Where are they? They're dealing with issues. They're dealing with problems. They're dealing with internal problems. Where am I on this whole pecking order? If I'm a VP of engineering and you're calling on, that's your cohort, then what are they struggling with? Do we even know? Do you have a buyer profile that goes into what are their issues? What are they struggling with externally? How is the world changing around them that's causing them to have to change and alter? What's happening internally with them? Do you know that about your clients? Generally, not specifically about any one client, but generally, do you know that? So when I say meet them where they are, you've got to meet them where their mind is. What are they thinking about? What are they working on? What are they trying to get done that they're just having trouble getting done? And if you go in just talking about your products and don't give a damn about them and what they're trying to accomplish in their lives, you're missing a huge opportunity. It doesn't take much, by the way. You can actually go to Claude or Chat or Grok and say, what are VPs of engineering struggling with today? You could probably learn it in 5 minutes, but at least, maybe that's not the ultimate, but at least it's a start. And the 5th thing then is, what would you love your potential customers to know about you? Know about you, know about your company. What would you love for them to know? And be careful with this, because they'd love to know where I went to university, where I went to college. No, they wouldn't. They don't care about where you went to college. They don't care about your degree. They don't care about where you live. I don't even think they really care about your family. I know you do. You should. They don't care about that. There's only one thing they care about. How are you going to help me? How are you either going to help me get to a place I can't get to on my own, or how do you solve a problem I've been unsuccessful at solving? And how do you even make me aware of some problems that I didn't know I had? That's all they care about. So how are you? What do you need to let them know? What would they want to know about you that would serve them to those ends? Problem identification, problem solving, avoidance of problems, destination, vision, transformation. What are you doing there? So those 5 things, if you would just think about those 5 things in a slightly different way, then I think the tactics and the strategies will come more naturally. If I just came to you and said, here's your best lead generation strategy, call all your old clients and invite them out to play golf. Well, that may be good. Sounds like fun to me. But is that meeting them where they are in business? Is that really is that really an alternative way? And I'm trying to give you some things here to think about that I have learned from my study of marketing and communication and persuasion and best practices in business leadership. All that stuff I've been thinking about, this led me to these 5 conclusions. So hopefully that has helped today. I would love to hear a comment from you. And I'm sorry I can't answer the comments because I don't have a big enough screen to be able to look. So instead I'm peering, and that's an odd thing. So hopefully that's helpful here on a Friday review your week. Ask yourself these questions this week. What have I done to build my brand? What have I done to amplify my wisdom? Have I really met my customers where they are, or am I all about me, where I want them to be? You want to double your business? Everybody wants to 2x. Everybody's talking about 5x, 10x. Okay, I like the X. I like the X factor. But you got to change your mindset. You got to change your behavior. It ain't going to happen on its own. So I wanted to give you these 5 things, and hopefully you've appreciated them. If you want, oh, by the way, I forgot to make you my free offer. I wrote a book called 12 Bold Moves. It's now in audio book format. If you'll go to 12boldmoves.com/audiobook, you can get your free copy. You just have to give me your email address. I'll send you the link. You can download it onto your phone. It's really a cool app that Travis has created. But it's easy. There's 12 chapters. Every chapter is a different move that I think, and I give you in the audio book a little bit more than I gave you in the original book. So 12 Bold Moves. You want to grow your business? Insider secrets that'll help you do that. I'd love to have you get a copy of it.